Welcome to Halloween Horror Month on Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review the 1986 classic, Night of the Creeps. Thrill Me.
Written and directed by Fred Dekker, starring Jason Lively, Steve Marshall, and Tom Atkins, Night of the Creeps is about an alien experiment crash landing on Earth, endangering two best buds, a love interest, and an embittered detective.
Thrill me.
This horror classic has it all. It has a creature feature, an axe murderer slash slasher, zombies, sorority house girls, and
hilarious detectives.
What do we like about this movie, guys?
I'm gonna kick it off with the cinematography because it was phenomenal in this film. We go into a really nice long take that starts at the top of a sorority house. I mean, there's probably about 50 or 60 characters on screen in about a 30-second long take, and it was amazing. The next long take that I want to talk about is Tom Atkins walking into the cryogenic chamber when he's coming to investigate what's happened. This shot, I think, was probably about 2 minutes. And it was incredible. Tom Atkins delivered all of his lines perfectly and hilariously, making sure that he said "thrill me" at least once or twice.
From that shot, I got one of the more memorable moments in the film for me.
Corpses that have been dead for 27 years do not get up and go for a walk by themselves.
And then it just cuts to that like shot of the middle of the road. And I love this because Fred Dekker also did Monster Squad a couple years later and did the exact same thing with the mummy bit.
2,000-year-old dead guys do not get up and walk away by themselves.
Just seeing it in both films and where it originally came from was hilarious.
This movie was a parody on horror. It was clear that it came out of love. It was clear that it was a horror fan that was doing it. You have references to all the last names of horror greats like Raimi, Cronenberg, Corman, Romero, Cunningham,
Carpenter.
There was obviously a lot of fandom in this movie. They were done so pitch perfect that you just couldn't help but smile and laugh and see in the 80s he made a movie parodying these 80s movies. Like, it's hilarious.
Let's blow this pop stand! We're gonna get done, dudes!
I really enjoyed JC's character. He didn't give a shit about anything. And everything he did was just awesome. In the end, he was the hero.
They played their roles so well. You know, you got the kind of dorky guys, Chris and JC, who are just out there. Chris falls in love. And then you have the best 80s character, the Bradster.
Hey, babe. The Bradster.
This was totally Revenge of the Nerds. And you even had like that jock guy at the very beginning with the unibrow. He was totally ogre.
He was awesome.
Thanks, dude.
I think Tom Atkins made this whole movie. He had amazing one-liners. Every single thing he did, you knew was gonna be either a dickhead thing to some other guy or just like really funny.
Got good news and bad news, girls. The good news is your dates are here.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
Even today, their costumes and the practical effects they used were awesome. Especially like the beginning when we're seeing the aliens running around. Those are some sweet costumes. The dog, the cat. You don't see good puppeteering anymore.
Now generally we do our favorite kills, but in this film, I think a lot of you already know, they're pretty much the same. Zombies come, they get shot in the head, and then they get burnt with a flamethrower. So we're just gonna move on to our dislikes.
I would have liked a little more kills, a little more variation in them, and maybe a little more gore. I thought maybe when the axe murderer first killed, I would have liked to see a nice practical effect there.
I found myself a lot of times looking at this film, seeing on screen a lot of continuity errors, which doesn't really discourage me from the film, but it's just little things like that that take away from it.
If I was gonna complain about anything, it would be the dry middle area. There was a little more character development, which worked to an extent, but I think if they threw in a couple small little kills, it would have really helped the film's pacing a little bit. If we're getting a lot of the zombie action within the last 20 minutes, then I mean, it's going to be a little dry. So they could have sweetened that up a little bit for us, I think.
They actually went and did pickup shots of the shed scene to add more action in because that was a common complaint.
Really? That was actually a really action-packed scene. That's cool to know.
It's time to give our final thoughts and our ratings. Overall, I really enjoyed this film. It is the perfect send-up of everything horror, 80s, the atmosphere is good, the zombies, the slasher, the aliens. To put this all into one cohesive story, to have two best buds who you care for and who care for each other, who speak to us, here. I know why it's on the top of so many lists. It's well deserved. So I'm gonna give this movie 4.5 80s mustache and hairstyles out of 5.
Like Trav said, this film hit all the different horror genres. It had all the cliches, and it just made it an all-around good film. It was hilarious. We got to see a lot of cool character development, and the story was just all around well presented. My problem was there was a lot of slow moments in the middle, and I found myself wanting more and waiting for more to happen, and it didn't really happen. I wish we got to see more kills, but what we did see was nice on screen, especially for the time that the film was shot. So that being said, I'm going to give this 3.5 zombies busting through floorboards out of 5.
This movie was dope. It had amazing cinematography. It had great ambiance. It also had the highest concentration of amazing one-liners in any horror film that I've seen, I think. The pacing was a little strange, but I mean, I can forgive that. They made up with it with very unique situations. I thought all the kills, all the characters, everything was great in this film. So I'll give this 4.5 screaming banshees out of 5.
Screaming like banshees?
As always, thanks for watching. Like this video, comment below with how you thought about this film, and make sure you stay up to date with everything Bloodbath and beyond by subscribing.